specimen photography and tissue morphometry. The general principles are a high-resolution digital camera, but if that's not available, then even a digital camera on a phone will be adequate. The camera should be overhead mounted to avoid angulation of the picture and distortion of the dimensions. A white background is preferable, but any other plain background would be acceptable. We want the whole of the specimen in the picture, of the front and the back, and there must be a metric scale on all of the photographs so that we can subsequently do quantitation on it. And then save it as a generic file, either a JPEG or a TIFF, with sequential numbers, with a note of what each photograph is of. So the whole specimen images we like to be performed before opening the bowel. The mesentery should be laid out flat, and if you could identify the site of the tumour and the high tie, either by forceps or by labels, that would be helpful. The proximal and distal margins need to be identified in colonic cancers for us, and again we want the whole specimen to be visible with close-ups of defects or perforations to prove what they are. Here is an example of a right-sided resection. Here's the tumour being identified with a pin. Here's the distal and proximal margin, ileal proximal margin here, and here is the high tie. And on the reverse of the specimen, you can see that these have been identified in exactly the same way. Here is an example of a left-sided resection. Again, the tumour, proximal and distal margins, and the high tie to enable us to orientate ourselves effectively. And most importantly, a metric 1 centimetre scale, so we can calibrate subsequently and do measurements like high tie to the nearest bowel wall and high tie to the tumour. So we want to look at cross-sectional slices as well. These are always taken post-fixation during dissection when we're making serial thin slices, about 3 to 4 millimetres wide. So you do the thin slices through the area of the tumour, you lay them out sequentially and photograph them all together, and then the slices of the tumour can be photographed individually. And on those cross-sections we need the proximal, distal, anterior and posterior marks so they can be orientated so that you can subsequently compare them to CT or MRI scans. And hopefully you'll already have put black ink on the retroperitoneal margin in order to identify that is a posterior retroperitoneal margin. Here are examples of cross-sections of quite a large colonic tumour which is stenosing. You can see the black ink on the posterior retroperitoneal surface. You can see that we've marked the distal and the proximal margins here, and the anterior surface and the posterior surface. And these are handy because you can have a look at them for the areas of peritoneal involvement, potential extramural vascular invasion, and other deposits that you might need to sample. These are some examples of errors of specimens. Here we have no scale, and the specimen's been sliced before photography and reconstituted. Now that distorts the specimen and means it's of little value. Here the scale is almost impossible to see, and the tumour has actually been opened as well here. So from that point of view, disrupting the anterior surface and making sampling of the anterior paracolic gutters very difficult. Here the ink has been applied before the macroscopic photograph is taken. The ink should be applied after the macroscopic photographs have been taken so that we can actually see any defects within the mesocolon. And here we have angulation, and you can see that by measuring the distances across the blue sheet in the different parts. So near you and far away, you can see it's varying from 25 centimetres here to 19.5 centimetres at the back. And what that means is that any metric scale, which again we don't have in this specimen, is not going to be usable because of this distortion. So why are photographs useful? Well, they're a permanent record of the planes of surgery, which can go into the patient's notes. The distance from the tumour and the bowel to the high tie can be measured from these photographs to give a level of central ligation. And this is important to know whether it's a D3 or a D2 type of resection. You can see the amount of tissue removed around the tumour, and you can see the presence of perforation and resection of other structures within the specimen. So it gives an excellent representation of what actually went on at surgery for informing the surgeons of the quality of the surgery and ultimately the outcomes of the patients. In this section, we're going to deal with the morphometry of the specimen. So the morphometry can be undertaken directly on the fresh specimen, just by measurements, or on the fresh digital photograph. You can also do it on the fixed specimen, but there will be shrinkage in that situation. There must be a scale to control the measurements, otherwise you can't undertake it on the fresh digital photographs. So here is a right hemicolectomy removed by Professor Hohenberger, and we have some measurements on it. The key measurements we take are here: A, which is the distance of the tumour to the high tie, and B, which is the distance from the nearest bowel wall to the high tie. And this enables us to compare specimens between surgeons and also take the body habitus into account when we're interpreting the lengths of these measurements. We measure the length of the small intestine, which varies between different surgeons and varies in length between Professor Hohenberger and the Japanese. And we measure the area, cross-sectional area of the mesentery. So we look at the area of the whole of the mesentery. And this is proportional to the number of lymph nodes that are removed. So the measurements can be made fresh with a ruler, or those photographs can be loaded into programs such as a perio image scope for digital quantitation, either by the pathologist or by the technician. And image scope can be downloaded free of charge from the Aperio website, but there will be other digital programs that will be able to do this quite easily, because you just have to calibrate the photograph with the centimetre scale that you already have in the photograph, and then you can make your measurements and adjust them for the scale.